Going. Okay, here we are, and welcome everybody. I'm so thrilled to see you here tonight. And tonight, right on we're nearly to Thanksgiving and then the Christmas holidays. We were just talking about the amazing Black Friday sale, which has such incredible discounts. You really need to check it out if you haven't already. And definitely tell your team, tell your friends, tell your family. There's never been a better time to get Young Living at a reduced price. It's just so exciting. I placed a huge order today, and I'm quite confident there's still some oils and products left. So go to it. And we have here many of our friends, and Jen, who's now in South Carolina. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hi, Peggy. How are you?
Good, good, good.
I'm so excited for tonight. I love joining with everyone from our community and just gathering with like-minded. And I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and entering into the holiday season. So class is really timely. How we're going to talk about today is just really a casual conversation. We want to hear from you guys too that are on the call. Like, what do you do to reduce your stress? So
That's right.
we'll get the ball rolling and then think of ideas that you can share as we go along.
And Vanessa, I want to give a shout out to you. And now you're in Pennsylvania,
Yep.
and Vanessa, you work with children, the mental health of children, right? You're a therapist for
hmm
for children, and so I'm sure you have some really good tips. And of course, you have kids, as
Yeah.
many of us do here. So
Yep, I can share my tips.
good, awesome. So, who wants to go first? I'm probably one of the more stressed people on this call today because my septic failed with a house full of people, and there was poop and everything coming out through the toilet and through the tub, and oh my lord. So anyway, you get the picture. So I'm gonna just take in all your great tips and do all of them. So, Vanessa, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, so I'll start with like the latest thing I've been doing. So um therapy in general is a stressful job, but over the past 2 years it's just been increasingly more stressful. And I've transitioned a lot actually from children to adolescents and new moms. I work a lot now with young women and new moms, and um, it's been a really hard year. So I do anywhere from 5 to 7 sessions back to back, which are 50-minute sessions. So I have a 10-minute break in between, which isn't a lot when I have just listened to a lot of hard stories or trauma or things like that. So I keep one of Jen had reminded me of this recipe, and it's one of my absolute favorites, but I keep a roller. I have like 3 of them made. It's Northern Lights, black spruce, cedar wood, and lavender. I literally keep it on my desk, and I keep one in my bag, and I keep one in my purse. I have a work bag and a purse bag. And just simply, I roll it, I inhale it, and I keep my gentle mist diffuser at work, which if you guys don't have that gentle mist diffuser, it's awesome. I love it so much. It's a 30-second quick mist. I can show it if people don't know what I'm talking about, I can go grab it. But I do that. I do like a facial mist. I have the same combination in there, and I do that. And tree oils are great to support our cortisol levels, and just inhaling and applying them, as we know, they get into our systems and into our body quickly. I can feel the difference at the end of the day on a day that I have done that every 50 minutes in between session and not done it in between my sessions. So using my oils. I know it's like so funny to say on a call with all people that have probably 100 bottles sitting around their house, but if we don't use them, they don't work. And it's hard to use them sometimes. So really getting in the pattern of actually using them. Like I had a call with Peggy about a month ago for some health stuff going on, and we both ended it like, okay, we got to go do our DIYs, because if we have them made up and we have the bottles around our house, we use them, right? So I always keep my calm rollers stocked. They're always around me. I keep a pulse oximeter in my house, and I can just quickly put it on my finger, see if I'm getting enough blood oxygen to my body. If I'm not, I take any tree oil that's in front of me. Northern Lights Black Spruce is what I typically go to. Cup it in my hands and just do like a 2 to 3 minute breathing exercise. So I have been over the past month much more mindful of using that roller, using my gentle mist diffuser, and breathing exercises. I strongly encourage, whenever you have a break from your day, if you're busy at your desk, or if you're busy with kids, or if you're in and out of meetings, or whatever your day looks like, I have an Apple Watch. Every hour it goes off and it ticks and it just says breathe. And I can click a button and it does a 1 minute breathing exercise with me. And it's made a huge difference. So being mindful of my breath, being mindful of my use of tree oils, those are my 2 biggest suggestions.
Those are such great suggestions. And I have a question for you, Vanessa. I know we often talk about cedar wood as being one of the very best oils to use to increase your blood oxygen. So
Yeah.
what kind of results are you getting with like the northern black spruce you were talking about, and some of the other tree oils? Have you noticed how they are
When
oxygenating?
I have, it goes up when so my optimum is like 99. I think 95 to 99 is pretty good, but my optimal range is 99. And if I sit with intent and do it while deep breathing and using the oils, it changes.
That's good. And you're just inhaling them.
Yes. Yep. Just inhaling them.
So you're not applying them except maybe to your hands.
I do to my hands. So I'll put a drop in my hands and I rub, and then I'll do a deep breathing exercise. But otherwise, yeah, I just sometimes will take the bottle or my gentle mist diffuser and just like waft it into my face. I'm gonna get my diffuser. So
yeah, I'd love to see it.
It's like the best. I don't remember how much it is. I keep it in my work bag at all times. I want to say it's affordable, $30 or $40 maybe.
That's really expensive. So it's a portable.
Yeah. So it's this little diffuser, and you just press the button and it does a mist for 30 seconds.
Oh, that's great.
And turns off. If you do it flat, it stops. And then if you do it upright, it goes. So this is perfect for the plane. It's amazing at your desk. It's good in your car. So the back has like this little water tank. So you just put the drops of oil directly in that. So I do 1 drop Northern Lights Black Spruce, 1 lavender, 1 cedar wood, and then you fill it up with water. It comes with a little squirt bottle to make it easy to fill this up. And then it's AA batteries. I haven't had to replace them yet. They last a pretty long time, but 30 seconds on and off. This is the best.
That's
invention.
awesome. I didn't even know about that diffuser.
You don't have it, Pete?
I know. I can't believe it.
Vanessa, how often do you have to fill the water? Like, does 1 fill last like a whole day?
The 1 fill will last me the whole day at work. Yeah. It's
awesome.
Seriously, it's so awesome. Awesome. My husband's making fun of me that I'm saying awesome so much, but
it looks awesome to me.
It is.
That's awesome.
But just keeping this at my desk. So I run diffusers in my office because I work out of my office and I have multiple people coming in and out. And so I keep Thieves and Orange running all day in all the offices. But I keep this also because, you know, I like the diffusers going in our office to clean the air and it smells good. And you know, we all know the benefits of these, but I find this is much more useful to be mindful about like taking my moments, taking breaks from thinking about work and really focusing on that.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's awesome. You know, I've always had diffusers going in my home, and I of course have a lot of, you know, I teach piano in my other life, and I have students and parents coming in and out, and I've really noticed the difference in just and people who come into my house, even people with babies who have otherwise allergies. I just had someone tell me again the other night that her baby has terrible allergies at home, but she comes into my home. I have 4 animals. I have a dog, you know, and a husband, and all this stuff. And she says that her baby just completely settles down, and she says she thinks it's the oils that are in the air. That the air just feels so clean and purified, and I've also noticed a difference in my animals and how balanced and peaceful they are. It's in contrast to the animals I had before I had the oils. It really is night and day. And you know, that's just such an easy way to purify your air, kind of de-stress your entire home, deal with any unpleasant odors that may arise from catastrophes or otherwise, and yeah, and also deal with some you know, stressors such as mold and microbes, and you know, stressors come in all kind of varieties. And so I think it's really, really important not to just think strictly emotions, but think the whole picture. Like, what is the root of the stress? So those are great, great tips, Vanessa. Thank you.
Sure.
So, Jen, I see you.
Hi. Yeah. So, I talk fast, so I'll try to slow down. My favorite oil for de-stressing is frankincense. So, and I'll tell you the cheapest way to use it, you just open the bottle and you smell it. You don't even have to take a drop out. So I usually carry frankincense with me, and it's so grounding. My family loves it. My kids love it. And yeah, it's a really special oil, and it's on sale at Black Friday.
30% off.
30% off. And
Frankincense.
so are the oils that you were talking, Vanessa. The cedarwood and lavender are 30% off. Northern Lights Black Spruce isn't, but the Evergreen Essence is. So you can grab that instead. So, but I would say I'm going to take a little different route than Vanessa did on emotional health. I'm going to say that one of our, besides emotional health, one of our biggest stressors in during the holiday season is just staying healthy. Like, we want to enjoy the holidays. We don't want to be vomiting on Thanksgiving, right? Like, we don't want a stomach bug traveling through our house as we're celebrating. We are around more people, and they might be bringing germs in the home. So that is where I want to focus on tonight. In my tip is just using oils to support your immune system, using oils to purify your air of germs. All these are great tips to reduce stress, because then you don't have to deal with the consequences of that. So, and then you're more comfortable, you know, if Aunt Sally comes over and sneezes in your house, you're just more comfortable with it. You know that you have your diffuser on and it's cleaning the air, and, you know, you don't have to freak out. So, so that's my tip. So
I think after this past year and a half or so, people are more conscious of if somebody coughs or sneezes. It's like, oh.
Right. Yeah. If you sneeze, it's like as taboo as like running around naked. So,
worse.
Yeah. So,
Well, not my case, but
yeah, so I think it's important to be, so my go-to and my diffusers for that would be Thieves and Purification. Those are probably the two oils that we diffuse the most all year round. And
over there? No.
and I'm going to go back to frankincense again, because not only is it grounding and de-stressing and really calming to my body during stressful periods, but frankincense is also very supportive to the immune system. So what I do is I carry it around, and I think I just saw you do it, Peggy. I just put it on my little pinky, and I put it under my tongue. So that's actually topical application under your tongue. You're not ingesting it, you're applying it topically under your tongue. And that's absorbing into your mucous membranes, and is just a great way to get the benefits. It might not taste delicious, but it just works amazingly. And I do that often throughout the day if I feel that little like thing and something coming on like that. So yeah, and then just stock up on the necessities from Young Living, the Thieves cough drops, the Super D for want to keep your vitamin D levels up, Super C. If your kids like chewables, get the chewable Super C. So
make sure you have a supply of Raindrop Oils on hand. I have multiples of all the Raindrop Oils, and especially oregano and thyme.
Yep. And if you don't know what Peggy's talking about, the raindrop technique, reach out to us. We'd love to explain that to you, because it is a powerful tool. The world needs to know it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, we do. We regularly do probably 3 raindrops a week here, on each other. And if any of my animals aren't quite right, and I don't know what's going on, the raindrop almost always takes care of it. Even the chickens. All my chickens were starting to, one after another, started looking really bad. And I didn't know, and I was calling around for a chicken vet. Well, that's not doing a big demand for that. I think people think, well, just eat your chicken. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So I was like, no, poor Gertrude and Henrietta. And so, I looked in the animal desk reference, and I did a very diluted raindrop mix, kind of like what I do for the kitties, but even more diluted. And I put it on their little spine, every night for a few nights. And it was like amazing. One application of that, and my husband went out there. He says, I can't believe how much better they are. It's like a miracle. So, it works for so many situations. You don't even need to know what's going on.
So Peggy, I had a question recently from someone who was apprehensive to use Raindrop, because she felt like everything that you're saying, it's amazing, it's supporting the immune system, but it detoxes, and she was apprehensive of detoxing in a powerful way.
Well, so I think that it is important to be mindful when you're applying it to someone or somebody small to assess, well, what is their level of toxicity, because it is very detoxifying. It's very, very important to drink plenty of water. And for somebody, let's say an older person who maybe has large amounts of toxins in their body, or maybe they're very, very ill with a kind of a chronic situation, you got to figure they have a large amount of toxins. Dilute it and don't use very much. You don't need a lot of drops of the oils to do the job. And obviously, if you're using it on animals, you need to dilute it plenty, depending on the species and the size of the animals. So for like a bird, what am I gonna? I'm gonna take an ounce dropper bottle, and I'll only put maybe 2 drops tops of each oil in there, if that, maybe 1 or 2 drops of each oil, and then use fill the rest with either the V6 oil that Young Living sells, or a an organic fractionated coconut oil. And with children, now your kids are so used to oils, you hardly need to dilute them at all, right?
Well, yes and no, because I have some kids that are just very sensitive to the oils.
Right.
It's just how their body chemistry is. So even though they've been using oil since, Emma's been using oil since day one, when she smells an oil, it's very strong to her. So I always have to dilute it because it's uncomfortable.
Well, exactly. And so I always say dilute first. One way to do it is just put a layer of diluting oil on the skin to buffer it and to kind of mitigate the strength of it, and then just start slow. And but it's highly beneficial, and just make sure that when you use oils, or the person you're giving oils to uses oils, make sure that they hydrate enough. Most people are fairly dehydrated, and so water is always super important. Is there anything?
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing to keep in mind is that when you're applying oils to the skin, it's very important to help, if you're helping somebody, really impress upon the importance of using non-toxic, organic personal care products. Get away from those personal care products that are loaded with petrochemicals, because oil will really go after those petrochemicals and can, cause reactions. So an example of that is my husband, who absolutely loves oils. He's always, wanting to do raindrops. Well, so he's had a long history of using petrochemically laden hand lotions, for instance, and before he knew me. Now, of course, I don't let any of that stuff in the house. So, but I noticed he was noticing that the back, how when you put on the raindrops, you feather it in. Well, the whole backs of his knuckles were all red and inflamed and kind of broken out. And I said, well, hon, that's just a reaction to the petrochemicals that are still in your skin there. And he's like, oh, okay. So that's the kind of skin reaction you may have. However, and I had the same thing many years ago. Over time, as you detoxify and you do a little, the cleansing that we always talk about, and you drink plenty of water, that stuff will leave your body and you will cease to have those kind of reactions. So in the meantime, dilute more, maybe use a little less, do some detoxification, maybe a little gut cleansing, drink more water, and do your best to start ditching the chemical products and introducing more healthful alternatives. And Young Living has so many really healthful choices to switch, and they are very, very concentrated, and you don't need a lot. The bottle of shampoo I use, of course I don't have really long hair, but it could last me a year. It really, so it's just, I find it very economical. So that's my suggestion. It's just really important to really adopt a non-toxic lifestyle in all the ways you can, to just start to switch things out. And I've noticed that has reduced my stress level and it's really increased my ability to weather things that happen outside, that I can't control. And I'm just more balanced than I used to be. And I really think it's all the young living lifestyle, and just getting rid of the toxic stuff and all those stressors that I didn't even know were stressing me, and introducing really healthful, really uplifting, like the frankincense is such an uplifting oil, and it just raises our frequency, it raises our vibration, it changes our outlook on life in a more positive way.
Yeah. So let's open up the call to anyone who wants to unmute themselves and share their tips on how they're keeping stress-free this holiday season.
I'll tell you about my lavender. That
Yes,
was always
Lenore.
my first go-to. And I find that is the aroma that really calms down my brain and my body. It's amazing. And my I seem to feel the stress in the middle of the night more than any other time. I wake up to go to the bathroom and then I'll get back into bed, and I find that sometimes less than before, but my mind is racing and I might be worrying about something, and I could try a lot of different methods, and I have to grab the lavender. When I do, and I put it in my hands and I just cup it, and then I put it on my pillowcase. So I'm surrounded by it, and it calms down my brain, and then I feel my body relaxing. It's amazing, including my heartbeat, because when I'm anxious in the middle of the night, I can feel my heart beating at a different pace and a little stronger, which gets me nervous because I'm alone and it's the middle of the night, and the lavender works.
That's great.
I remember that when you first started with Young Living, you were singing the praises of lavender back then, and all these years later, you still are.
Yeah. And during the day, I find that peace and calming when I smell that, and clarity, that is immediate. It's like done. Stress is gone as soon as I inhale it. It's amazing.
That's interesting. Both peace and calming and clarity.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that goes to that's such those are very diverse oils: the lavender, the peace and calming, and the clarity. They all smell so different, right? But it really, I think the main takeaway is everyone needs to try an oil to see how you feel with that oil. And if you're in this call, you're part of my community, Peggy's community, and we want to help you, So if there's an oil that you want to smell that you don't want to schlep out the money for, I can put a drop on, if I have it, I can put a drop on a cotton ball and mail it to you with a forever stamp. So, it's really simple. So if you need that, let us know.
Absolutely.
I will. Thank you. I probably have all the oils that exist.
You probably do, Lenore.
in triplicate, or more.
Right.
So I would like to just mention really quickly, lavender, they have, Young Living has a number of oil blends that lavender is a predominant aroma, but they have a different effect. So the first one that I fell in love with years ago is this one, the Tranquil Roll-On.
That's my favorite lavender blend.
It's my favorite too, and it is it has not only lavender, but it has Roman chamomile and cedarwood. So that is that is a very powerful combination. And when you said, Lenore, that I'm like you, Lenore. My most stressful time is in the middle of the night when I have to get up and I have to pee, and then my mind starts going, and it's nowhere good. In the middle of the night, I just need to sleep. Tranquil is the one that really calms my brain down. I think it's the cedarwood that goes directly into the brain, and Roman chamomile is a very empowering, strengthening oil. So it kind of gives me just kind of courage and just quells the anxiety right down very, very quickly.
And also, I use Tranquil as a muscle relaxant as well. So if I'm carrying a lot of tension, maybe it's stress induced, right? So I can rub it on my muscles too, and it relaxes my muscles in a way as well. So it has an emotional and a physical. I love the versatility of Tranquil Roll-On.
Well, and that's true of most of the oils. I think the Roman chamomile is very good for tight muscles and muscle spasms. So if like you wake up and you have a muscle spasm in the middle of the night, try Tranquil. That can really, really calm it down. And try drinking water too, because that's also
Yeah.
an issue of dehydration.
I
right?
also
Minerals.
prefer the Tranquil in the wintertime rather than like if I have a tight muscle, I don't like peppermint in the wintertime. It's too cool to my skin. So the Tranquil doesn't have that mintiness.
Right.
And it's a great oil for this time of
It's
year.
a soothing one. The other oils that have lavender in it that I want to well, there's the Rutavala, which is on sale at the Black Friday sale. That's a really, really good oil for stress. It's a combination of ruta, lavender, and valerian. So that's a good one before bed. And it also has some antiviral component to it. So that's probably a good one to put around, the brain stem and around the your occipital ridge, around the back of your neck. So, and that one's really helpful. The other ones are the calm roll-ons, and these are the ones that have the CBD in them. There's a 300 milligram and also the 600. And I really like it. I don't like, it works a little differently than the Tranquil. And so I just wanted to mention those lavender blends that if lavender is the one that really does it for you, you may want to try one of them or all of them.
Yeah, I have all of them. Okay.
Yeah, I do too, of course.
Yeah.
All right. So who else I know there someone else has some great tips. Kim, would you like to share?
So on a daily basis, I use multiple oils a day. Stress Away sits by my side. I pretty much bathe in it. Lately it's been a lot. It's very stressful, and it comes to realize that my vertigo is because of the stress. And I had it for 6 months, and then it went away, and now I know why. And then recently figured it out when my stepfather passed away. We were going through the funeral stuff, and I had to deal with his wife, long story short, but it got very stressful, and I got the vertigo back. And I had it for 2 weeks. So on top of all my oils that I use, so I use Stress Away all the time, but I do have a roller that has bergamot, Valor, Stress Away, and frankincense in it that I use daily as well. And then at night, I use lavender and cedarwood. Sometimes I'll switch it off and use Northern Lights, Black Spruce, and Stress Away together, off and on. But on top of all that, I see a acupuncturist, a chiropractor, and a massage therapist too lately, just because it's so overwhelming for me. But they're my go-to oils, and actually they're all on sale too.
Yeah.
So I stocked up for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we're under stress, our immune system goes down too, and that's when we're more apt to maybe feel under the weather. And when we feel under the weather, well, that stresses us out. So it's like this downward spiral. So
Yeah. Kim, can you repeat your roll-on recipe? I think you said Valor, Stress Away.
Bergamot and frankincense.
That's an interesting blend.
Yeah.
And it smells like if you were putting perfume on, like that you would buy from a store. Yeah, the combination of them all.
All right. So I just want to point out.
Yeah, what's that? What's the blend again for everyone?
Bergamot, frankincense, Stress Away, and Valor. Sorry.
And which one is like the heaviest? Like
I can go get the recipe. Can you go get my book for me?
You
real
have
quick?
a recipe.
Under my laptop.
Okay, that's good.
I'm gonna get it to the drops that I use.
Cool.
And then obviously fill it with a carrier oil. So
Yeah. So, Gary Young always taught not to blend two like blends together, like always like only blend singles or blend with a single. So like Valor and like frankincense and bergamot, or Stress Away, frankincense and bergamot. But he always said that if you put two blends together, say like Stress Away and Valor, it kind of negates some of the frequency of how Young Living created the blends. So it might be interesting for you to experiment to see how it also is with, taking out one of the blends. Do you think, Peggy?
Yeah, I agree. And of course, I remember Gary talking about that often. And, keep in mind, Gary created these blends so specifically they cannot be replicated. And there's an essential oil chemistry involved. It's a science. And so I can see why he would say, don't blend the blends because they're already so perfect. And a lot of times when you blend, like you said, they act with each other and diminish the frequencies or can block certain frequencies. And so I think,
but you can layer the
yeah,
blend.
layering
So
is different because once the oils are in your bloodstream within seconds. So you put on one oil and then it absorbs and then you put on another one and you can layer as many as you want.
and you can also layer diffusers too.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have like Stress Away in one diffuser, and then on the other side of the room, Valor in that diffuser. So that's actually really cool. That's
Yeah.
like if you want to experience something special, have two diffusers in the room, diffusing two different blends.
Well, and you have a large house now, so you have plenty of options that way.
Yeah.
You may not want to do it in your tiny bathroom, but
Yeah.
or maybe
But
you would.
I got the new Macron diffuser. I'm very excited about that.
Oh, did you get it yet?
No, it's on its way. I'm like,
that is exciting.
Like a little girl waiting for Santa. But yeah, Kim, can you share that recipe though? Do you have it? Did you get it?
So it's however you want to do it. It's 5 to 10 drops. I only do 5.
Oh, of what?
Yeah.
So I
Of
equal a portion
each.
of each one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I do them all separately at night too.
Mm-hmm.
I use
Yeah.
like 9 different rollers. And when I say 9 different rollers, I mean Calm, Stress Away, Tranquil, Rulaba. Like each one individually, I use them every night too.
Yeah.
Breathe away or breathe away.
Breathe again.
Yeah, breathe again. Deep relief. Like I go through them every night.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that recipe. That sounds really wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it breaks Gary's rule, it's still, it works, right? Like the oils work.
Well, that's true. That's true. And like Dr. Res Pellicati always says, the key in a lock. So what works for me might not be what works for you, Jen, or what works for you, Kim. So that's why it's so important to have, a nice amount of oils, and you can just experiment and see what works for you under what circumstances.
And it might work at a different time in your life too. Like don't give up on something. I've shared this story many times because it's a crazy story for me, but a friend after my second baby gifted me a bottle of Gentle Baby, and I thought it was horrific. I smelled it. I thought it was terrible. I put it on the shelf. And about 6 weeks in, when I started having postpartum, my brain was like, get up and get that Gentle Baby. It was the craziest thing. I didn't like the smell. I literally was sitting on the couch and like needed to get up and get it. And to this day, it's the oil I need if I'm having like a mom moment. But I didn't need it in that first day after my baby was born. I needed it 6 weeks later. So don't forget to go back to things. Just because they don't work for you in one moment doesn't mean they won't in another moment.
That's a great story. And I've heard that many, many times with various different oils.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Peggy, what are your thoughts about cortisol for somebody who, during high stress or high?
I love cortisol. It's a supplement that reduces cortisol levels and is very good for the adrenals, which I think many of us, when we start to feel like if we're under a lot of stress for a period, long period of time, for any reason, and we start to feel completely exhausted and we'll drink, let's say we'll reach for a cup of coffee and we feel even more exhausted after drinking what should, give us a little energy, that means our adrenals are fatigued. So we need to start nourishing our adrenals. Cortisol is excellent and it also helps with hormonal balance. I've been taking it for many years, ever since menopause, and it has just completely changed my life. So what is your experience with that, Vanessa? Since you
Yeah, I
mentioned,
took it once during like the heightened moments of pandemic when my husband was laid off and I was home and I was just so fatigued. And it was remarkable, the difference. I think I ran through one bottle, which I can't remember. It's maybe 6 or 8 weeks, the dosage, whatever it is. And I felt such a difference. And so it's going on my December order too now because I'm focusing on my adrenals and replenishing my adrenal system because of some other things that have been going on, not necessarily the stress, but I mean, that's, part of it. But I really had a great experience with that supplement.
well, that's
Yeah,
great.
I think everyone should take a bottle of cortisol every year.
Yeah.
At least one bottle.
Yeah, and I take it I take it ongoing, and I have been for a long time. Let's just speak about adrenals
You
because
defy the rules.
yeah, I think adrenals is, as part of our endocrine system. And when we're stressed, the adrenals are hit pretty fast. And also, a lot of people have thyroid issues. Like I noticed at the beginning of this year, all of a sudden I started losing hair in the shower. I never lose hair in the shower. I was like, whoa, this is weird. And I realized it was my thyroid. So I started nourishing my thyroid, the thyromin, and working with my adrenals, which I knew were, and I was also very exhausted. So there's a mix of oils that are excellent for nourishing the adrenals: the rosemary, clove, and nutmeg. And you can mix those those 3 oils together. There's actually a recipe in the EDR. I'm trying to remember the proportions. It's kind of generally like twice as much rosemary as there is clove and nutmeg.
Yeah, I think I have it written down right here because I make it a lot.
Yeah. So what's the recipe? So this is for your adrenals, and your adrenals, by the way, are, you can reach them in the back, right on top of the kidneys. They sit right on top of the kidneys. So this is and you can take a bath with these 3 oils in Epsom salts or pink Himalayan salts and soak in it. That's a good way. So Vanessa, when you have your little recipe there.
Yeah, it wasn't in the book I thought it was. I'm looking at my other book. I'll grab it I'll type it in when I find it.
Okay, great.
I use Endoflex for that.
Yeah, Endoflex is a really good one for overall endocrine support, and you can apply it to all the glands in the endocrine system. So, on the top of your head, right here on your thyroid, on your adrenals, across your pelvic area for the sex glands down there, even on the pancreas. And you can also put a drop to the roof of your mouth, as Jen said, a topical, application of the Endoflex. That's a really, really good one. Another one for the adrenals that I absolutely love, and it has nutmeg in it, is the Super B. B vitamins are very, very, very important for the adrenals. So for anyone feeling exhausted all the time, I would support your adrenals. So cortisol, super B, a mix of rosemary, clove, and nutmeg.
It's 7 rosemary and 3 nutmeg, 3 clove
Okay. Thank
In
you.
a roll.
in a roller. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And
So
I
I
don't
just
bother
use-
to dilute it. I don't bother to dilute it, but you can if you want.
I just used like I keep it in a recycled 5 milliliter
Mm-hmm.
bottle, and then I plopped a roller top on, and 7 rosemary, 3 clove, and 3 nutmeg.
Right, right.
I
So
think Caitlin has a tip to share.
yes.
I'm look at my face. I'm like just absorbing everything because I'm so stressed out right now.
Oh,
Well, we know how you feel, Caitlin.
I've just been bathing in like every oil possible at any moment that I can. So, but
Well, very good reason to be stressed out. How's your little girl?
she's doing good. She was just moved to a nursery today for babies who don't need to be like up all the monitors and stuff anymore. So
Oh, good.
it's quieter. It's I guess a stepping stone to go home. So that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're there, but
that's beautiful.
Caitlin,
I'm so
Caitlin
glad
has
to
a
hear
little
that.
baby Caitlin had a little girl 2 weeks ago, and she's in the NICU. Sorry, people who don't know.
yeah, she was born super, super early. Well, she was supposed to be born early anyway because I had a C-section scheduled. I had like a complication, but I guess she didn't like the birthday I picked for her, so she decided to come days before that.
Oh, wow.
Girls.
I know.
Girls.
They rush into everything, right?
From day
Wow.
one.
Oh.
So
And
when do you think she'll be able to come home? Do you have an idea yet, Caitlin?
So they said around Thanksgiving.
Oh,
So
that's coming up.
anything, yeah, the only hurdle she has to pass now is she has to eat 80% of her like feeds, I guess they call them, not in a feeding tube because she has a feeding tube through her nose. So she's working on bottle feeding. They just changed the like nipple speed because I think the one they were giving her was too slow, so she was falling asleep while eating. Because I guess she would just be like, I give up, like I'm done. But now that they made it a little bit faster, she's eating a lot more and a lot quicker. And that's the only hurdle she has to pass to come home. So
Wow.
get rid of the feeding tube.
Strong girl.
Wow.
There are so many things you don't even think about, like regulating your own body temperature, like the oxygen, like all these things that she was hooked up to begin with. And then now it's like, just eat, honey, eat some food.
Right, right. Oh.
But yeah, so cortisol is definitely, I needed that like 2 weeks ago. So that's on my December order as well.
Well, and after a pregnancy, you really need to renourish your body. I know you do your Ningxia, and I don't know if you're doing Super B still. So we had talked about that.
And, Dr. Dan Purser, who formulated Progestins Plus, said after birth is the most important time to use Progestins Plus.
I started using that in the hospital.
Good.
Yep. Yeah, so I have that. And what else did I start using again? Well, I was using the Endoflex through pregnancy, but yeah, I'm still using that. And then the sulfurzyme capsules.
Good. Yeah. Clean that body out. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you and your little girl are in our thoughts and prayers. I've been thinking about you a lot. So
Absolutely.
I'm happy to hear all good news.
Yeah, she's doing really good. We expected some semblance of a NICU stay. It was just, I think I'm probably going to do some trauma life in my future because it was very traumatic. So just kind of still processing that and working through all those things.
Yeah.
Trauma life is fabulous. Fabulous for trauma.
Yeah.
I've gone through quite a few bottles in my life. Yeah,
Peggy,
it's also
how do
very
you
good
use
for.
it?
Oh, trauma life. Well, I would say you use it intuitively. Where do you feel you would benefit? I've often used it on the auricular points of my ear because there are a lot of emotional points on your ear. Also, just, right here and on the back of my neck. Sometimes on your heart is a really good place. So I just say there's really no bad place to put it. And just, listen to your own intuition and, just inhale it. It's one of those really, really complex special oils. And some people, I love the smell of it. Not everyone does. And I'll share this little story with you. This goes to what Vanessa was saying, that there are times in your life that you really need an oil and you just are drawn to it, and other times that you're repelled by it. So I had a friend who was going through a horrendous divorce with the narcissist in India, and the court systems are not kind to women there. And she was just going through hell, and she had children, and she was living with her parents in this small room, and it was just horrible. And she got Trauma Life, and she just loved the Trauma Life. She just absolutely. And her family was like, oh, that smells horrible, get that away from us. But this woman just loved the Trauma Life. It completely changed her. She went from feeling like a victim to feeling empowered and being able to withstand the court battles and all the stuff, and coming out in a completely different way. And then all of a sudden, it was like she didn't need it anymore, and she didn't want it anymore, and she didn't like it anymore. So it was that oil that she needed for that specific time. It filled the purpose, and then that was it.
Yeah. And also, you don't have to like the smell for it to have an effect on you. This woman definitely used her intuition in that case. But, I think that's a really good thing to bring up, Peggy, that, there's going to be people that we're going to share a meal with that might have caused us trauma, or might cause us trauma on the holiday. So, use your oils in that way to give you strength and get through the trauma. And you don't necessarily have to forget what happened, but it is important to forgive. And I tell my kids, if you're not forgiving the person, it's only hurting you. It's not hurting the person.
Right.
And I think that's what the Trauma Life helps you, just work through it so that you can get on the other side for your health.
Well, that's exactly right. And speaking of the holidays, I know the holidays can be really joyful times when people get together and families, but they can be also very stressful. And usually every family has that one person who's problematic. I'll just say. And
Not me.
I think well, not me either. But you know what? That's where diffusing your oils in your home can be your best. Oh, I almost said weapon, but I would say tool. Okay. And just a simple oil like purification is a very powerful oil for diffusing anger, diffusing resentment. It purifies more than the microbes in the air. It purifies emotions, and it can and frankincense, going back to your favorite, Jen, just purifies the air. There's a reason that they used it in churches and it's for thousands of years to purify and uplift our emotions. So use your oils in your diffuser and pick them strategically for whatever guests are going to be in your home.
Yep. And don't forget Valor. You have Valor too. That's a great tool to be able to be confident. You know, I know there's some family members that, you know, I see, it makes me nervous to see them. And Valor is a great oil to use for strength and courage. Lenore, what did you used to talk about Valor and share? How it allowed you to speak, right?
That was you, Lenore. Tell us your story.
Oh, what are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. It's a great story. I'll never forget that story.
Yeah.
Well, I was very new to Young Living, and that was, one of the oils in the kit. And Peggy told us how to use it and what it does. And I tried it one evening, and it shocked me because I said things to my husband that I never thought I would actually admit to him and tell him everything about how I'm feeling.
Maybe
And,
that's not good for Thanksgiving
It was
dinner.
like, it's like The Exorcist. It was all coming out. That was funny. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
shocking because
But
it's like I
it
couldn't
gave
even
you the
stop my
strength and
mouth.
courage.
Kept going.
It gave you the strength and courage. I think that's the point, is that it gave you the strength to be able to speak your truth.
Yes, and it actually felt very freeing.
Yeah.
It felt right. It felt comfortable and it felt right. I was just shocked, but it felt right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a positive experience, actually.
Yeah, and I think Valor was the oil that I use every single day right from the beginning. And I've used it every single day for the last almost 20 years now. And I put it right on the bottoms of my feet, right out of my morning shower, and any extra I put on the back of my neck. And I will say that oil more than any other one has changed my life. I mean, it sounds kind of glib, but it's really, really true, because when I first started with Young Living, my emotions were on a roller coaster. I was pretty much perimenopausal, and yeah, my life had a lot of stress and trauma, and really a lot going on. It was not a good situation, but we can maintain our balance, and we can maintain our strength, and that helps us navigate through these stressful times. And over the first few months that I started using Valor, I changed, and all of a sudden I felt really, really strongly rooted, very grounded. I felt more like I could take life's bumps and all the drama and trauma and all the crap that was going on, and still maintain my equilibrium, my center, and be able to handle things in a more positive and constructive way. And it's kind of like being in the eye of the hurricane. That's really what it felt like. And I've never quit using it. So I'm so excited that we're getting it 30% off, 15 milliliters. And of course we have it in the roll-on as well. But yeah, and this is just such a good one for stress. It's one that I use for my students when they have performance anxiety before before they're in their recital or their performance. And so, yeah. So
on that note, I think we were going to make this short and sweet, and this was a great call. I love the collaboration of everyone's tips. But I want to remind you that we are having a Zoom class on December 7th, and it's going to be a really special DIY workshop. So for that, we do have bottles. So we have Calm, we have a room spray, and savory salts that we're going to be making. This has Himalayan pink salt in it. And you can buy this, either the bottles or just the labels, depending on what you need. If you have your own bottles, you can buy just the labels from the Crunchy Kitchen. So if you go to plusoils.com/dive deeper, and you scroll down to the holiday, I think we call it the Winter Wonderland Workshop, DIY craft, something like that, is on December 7th. And all the details are there of the class supplies that you'll need. So there's essential oils we're going to make the room spray, and we're going to flavor the salts, and we're going to make the roll-on together. So it'll be fun and festive for the holidays. And then the link to the Crunchy Kitchen website to order your bottles or your labels or both is also there. So you'll see there's a link to the DIY packages. And you can all get that at plusoils.com/dive deeper.
That sounds like a great idea for holiday presents.
It is.
Yeah.
They make wonderful presents. So I bought 2 sets of the DIY packages. I got one for myself and one to give as a gift for the holidays.
That sounds really, really fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. Well,
Well,
thank you, Peggy, for hosting.
Oh,
This was a
and
great call. This is
thank you for-
really, you know what? Everyone needs, I'm going to grab the link to the recording test and put it on YouTube, because this call everyone needs to know about these tips. We talked about so much about immune support, emotional health, like covering a lot of ground.
Endocrine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. All
Thank
right.
you.
Well,
Have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy the holidays, Caitlin. We'll be keeping you and your little girl in our prayers.
You.
Yeah, and we'll see you in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah,
What'd
2
you say?
weeks, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2
2
weeks.
weeks. Mhm. Yep. All
Yep.
right. Good night, everyone.